Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Fetch Quest podcast, where we talk about video games and more. I am your host, Guy, joined by my fellow co-host, Connor.
Guy, we need to hide. The Mongols are coming.
No time for an intro. There's nowhere to hide. Connor, what do we do?
Oh God, I guess our only choice is to fight.
Okay. Uh, uh, they're all dead.
What? What happened?
It, he can't be real. It must have been the ghost.
The ghost? The ghost of what?
The ghost of Tsushima.
Oh my goodness.
He saved us, bro. Holy shit. And because of him, we're able to talk about today's episode today, Ghost of Tsushima 2020, the last PlayStation exclusive for PlayStation 4 console, and widely
You could
acclaimed one of the best games of that year, often regarded as a game that lost Game of the Year. So we are here to talk about that today. Ooh, Ghost of Tsushima, this is a good game. I am excited to talk about it.
I was gonna say you could have just stopped that sentence there of the last PlayStation exclusive.
True, because all of them are on PC now. Oh my god. Oh, well, Ghost of Tsushima is also on PC.
I know, but I just think that's funny.
It is pretty funny, I can't even lie. Oh god. But yeah, no, Ghost of Tsushima, Sucker Punch's most recent game, the guys who made Sly Cooper made a historical epic about a guy trying to get revenge to take back his home country. Oh my god.
Yeah, it's great.
Crazy switch up, I gotta say.
Yeah, I can I don't know if you can tell, but there's subtle references to how Sly Cooper evolved into Ghost of Tsushima, a fun, cartoony platformer into a bloody action game.
True. Oh god. Like it's still like I do think we should do a synopsis first, but like this is the last thing I'll say before we do that. I just think it's really funny how well, I mean, similar thing happened to Naughty Dog, where it's like cartoony platformer. They made like a very edgy, like serious story-driven video game that like is universally acclaimed. If you know what I'm talking about with Naughty Dog, Crash Bandicoot, into Last of Us and Uncharted.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the thing is
But
though, Ghost of Tsushima isn't really divisive, unlike The Last of Us. But that's for a different video.
I thought it was just The Last of Us 2.
Well, yeah, but like there's some stuff in The Last of Us 2 that don't worry about it. Just play the games. You'll understand. You'll understand. Last of Us 1
Well,
is amazing. I love that game.
okay. But I think I'll go into the synopsis now.
Go for it.
Um, So, The Ghost of Tsushima, as Guy said, is a game where you are in the historical period of when the Mongols invaded, not like Genghis Khan Mongols, like one of his grandchildren who continued the Mongol invasion. And
It takes
you,
place in the 1200s AD, like for
yeah,
reference.
yeah. Thank you. But you play as Jin Sakai, uh, a samurai who upholds honor, um, and like the whole thing is like he's a very big stickler for the honor code of the samurai, and essentially the game follows you after a very big battle where you essentially lose every single every single soldier of Tsushima, which is like this little tiny island, is like just a huge loss in battle against the Mongols. And this isn't a spoiler, by the way. This is literally like the tutorial of the game. Is this epic fight against the Mongols? Um,
It's just an absolute wash, dude. Like all the samurai just get their fucking teeth kicked in.
when you find out your goat is washed.
True.
Um, yeah, and
That's
it's a
literally Jin throughout the entire game. Oh my god, that's literally the entire. Oh, that's for later.
yeah, and it's a great opening to the game. But to just we'll get into that later. But just again to finish up the synopsis, after that you essentially are a lone warrior who essentially is just your only goal is to just stop the Mongol invasion and save Tsushima. And what sacrifices and choices have to be made in order to get that done.
Yeah, no. And this is done through an open world, half stealth, half action game, where Jin he has to go against his honor code as a samurai in order to properly fight the Mongols and give himself a chance to retake his island back.
Yeah, and we will, and I will say as we get before we get super deep into this, there will be probably minor spoilers throughout, and then at the end we'll have a major spoiler section. So if you want to go into this game as blind as possible, then you know it, you can save this, and then just come back and watch it once you've beaten the game, which will take a bit, but you know, well, this video will be here when you get done.
Exactly. No,
Uh,
go overall. Play the game. It's very fun. It's not one of my personal favorites, but I had an amazing time with it. Please play it. It's a lot of fun.
yeah. Um, and now, as Guy said earlier, this is an open world game, so now we are going to talk about the world of Tsushima, or I guess the island of Tsushima in this case, and
True.
how much I love it.
It's so
I
good.
I really love all the like small attentions to detail within that are scattered in the world. Like,
Yeah, you first.
I was gonna say you go first.
I was gonna say, like, yeah, no, I completely agree with you because the reason why I always say that this game is a historical epic is because there's so much time in the game spent to just Jin reflecting on his actions, taking in the scenery, looking at the architecture. There's a lot, and like this is one of the few games ever where I would say like everything was meant to be put there for a purpose and Tsushima just knocks it out of the door. Like, actually, out of the door, knocks it out of the park. Just oh my god, the attention to detail is insane. One of the collectibles in the game, headbands. They're like cosmetics that Jin can have to customize them however you want, make it your own badass warrior. These headbands to collect them, you have to do haikus, which are a form of poetry that Jin has to do from sitting down, recollecting, and thinking about the environment in front of him. And through the game, actually makes you look through multiple perspectives of the environment around you to make this haiku. Like, there's so much downtime in this game of just taking in everything, and I think it works in its favor because they created this world of just pure Japanese history that they want to envelop you in and just be invested in. That's one of the best parts about Ghost of Tsushima. And probably, I'm gonna be real, the thing that made me want to platinum the game, the world is just so fun to explore.
Yeah, I agree. I think the I'll this is probably gonna go into an unrelated little tangent, so I'll try to keep it short. But I think a lot of games that tackle sort of historical periods and like adapt them into a game, like excuse me, obviously this game, but also games like Assassin's Creed games. Um, I think the amount of research that has to go into that in order to make them, obviously accurate as much as you can, as well as like just being able to sort of see the lives of like people back then, because that's one thing that I've heard a lot about some of the Assassin's Creed games is that they will have a lot of attention to detail for historical accuracy, at least like in the terms of like the world, not really the story obviously, but like the world and the environments that you're in. They'll put a lot of attention to detail into that to make sure it's like pretty historically accurate, and so I think it's really cool. when games do this, because it sort of gives you like a small glimpse into what this world that is like completely foreign to us could have been and what could have been happening there.
No, exactly. It's just like you kind of little side tangent here. It's funny that you say it's similar to Assassin's Creed games and the fact that like they try to go for historical accuracy. This game is just a good modern Assassin's Creed game. And the reason why I say that is because we have not gotten a good Assassin's Creed game in a while.
Well, oh, okay, I won't say anything about Shadows because I'm gonna be honest, I forgot that game even existed.
What, Assassin's Creed?
Yeah, Assassin's Creed Shadows, yeah.
Dude, oh my god. That is actually like Ghost of Tsushima Light. Holy shit.
Yeah, but to I guess move on from that, I
Yeah.
genuinely kind of agree with you when you said like obviously I'm not gonna platinum this game. I've got too much on my backlog to do that right now, but I do agree with the idea of this game is just like the world and how you explore it and all the collectibles and stuff like that really enhance the world. Um, and to like I guess briefly go on the exploration and like collectible things. That's kind of like a tiny flaw I have with the game. Like looking back on it now, um, I'll say this before like we get too far into this. I personally think this is a 10 out of 10 game for me, and I know Guy is gonna disagree with me, but that's just due to like our different perspectives on it. Because like Guy platinumed it, and I just played through like most of the main story and other stuff like that. So my experience is like pretty different. Um, but I do think this is a 10 out of 10 game. But one thing I do have to give it a little bit of flack for is the amount of like collectibles that are in it that are it kind of bloats it a bit in my opinion.
Yeah, that is true. Like, if I wasn't doing it for like the cool like visuals or like the cool world, I wouldn't have done it. I'm gonna be real, because a lot of them just like don't really benefit you all too much. Like,
That's
obviously you
what
have
I'm
like charms that give
saying.
you passives, but like I don't care about cosmetics.
Yeah, you've got the only good like collectibles in the world that I would say are good are obviously the charms because they'll give you little buffs. The fox dens because they'll increase your I believe how many charm slots you can have on, and then just later they'll give you actual charms. Um, then you've got the uh, lake, like the little like hot springs, which increase your health. You've got bamboo strikes, which increase your resolve. You've got banners and then cricket, and there's just a bunch of stuff. And like the more and more you go down the line, the more and more you realize like there's just so much to the point where it becomes like almost too much, you know?
Yeah, like it's a quick platinum. Like for compared to like other open world games, it only took me like 40 hours to platinum. But I will say this, like it is just repetitive. Like those last 10 hours were just like a little bit of the same thing over and over again, unfortunately. But besides that, it's still like I still liked it for the most part, even if it was repetitive. I was still enjoying myself.
Yeah. And I think before we go into like the meat of this game, which will be the combat, I think we should also just briefly touch on the visuals, and like why it's just really beautiful. I like the amount of like color and like I guess I want to say like art direction that goes into like almost every environment in this game is really good. It's incredible.
For a game that's supposed to take place in one of the darkest times in Japan's history, it's very colorful.
It's very beautiful too, yeah. Like there are these like sea almost like seas of like red or white flowers that you can run through, and like you can see the petals flowing in the wind. Um I remember I screen recorded this. I found that thing birds will do where they'll like fly in like a small flock everywhere and they'll go like have you seen that before?
Yes, I have.
And they'll be like a little ball and they'll like fly around in like a certain area.
Yes, I have.
I remember I saw that happening in game, and I screen recorded that because I was like, "That's so cool." Like, that's such a detail that I feel like most games wouldn't do, but it's like that's just so awesome.
Yeah, no, like one thing, dude, I think it's insane how like Sucker Punch Studios they went into this game with like this is the first time they've made a game like this ever, but they fucking knocked it out of the park with like the visuals as well. Like
Yeah.
oh my god, they made this game look as good as it does, and it was a PS4 game.
Yeah, that is also the thing. Is like this is a game that like was on last gen hardware, and it looks amazing. I obviously played the PS5 version, um, but even then, I don't think that much was done to it. Um, like like from the PS4 to the PS5 version, I really don't think that much was done because it looks beautiful, no matter what.
There's a scene at the very beginning of the game when Jin recollects himself and he grabs his horse where he is lost. He doesn't know what he needs to do or where to go. But the wind guides him in a direction and he just follows. And that's when the credits initially play for the game. And the scenery, the imagery is so beautiful of this wind just carrying all of these flowers right next to Jin in this field where you have the horse just strutting along the flowers, diverting the grass. It's so I like obviously this is stuff you've probably seen before in another game or in a movie or whatnot, but just being able to play that moment and feel it come to life is something that is a moment I will never forget.
Yeah, and something else I wanna I guess give props to, and this also is gonna apply to Ghost of Yotei from like the trailers I've seen of it, but the amount of color in like a game like this that's like got pretty like realistic art style, I think is like really like very needed. And like when you've got your like Call of Duties and just other like hyper realistic like shooter games that are just all about like they're just all like sort of swabs of like gray and brown and like very like lacking in color, to see like games that have this similar sort of like realistic effect to them have this much color and visual flair, I think is really like needed. And also just I love to see it.
No, I love seeing it too, man. And this game does like an excellent job with just using the PS4's processing power in a way that like dude, they really stretched the limits on like what this console can do. There are like two games I would say stretched the limit of what like the PS4 is capable of, and it's God of War and Ghost of Tsushima. I think those games, especially with their art style and hyper realism, stretch the boundaries of what a PS4 could do at the time, and I fucking love it, dude.
Mm-hmm. It's great, and I played both of them, and I completely agree with that. Of I think those two games, obviously, it's because they're both giant games as well. Like Ghost of Tsushima and God of War are pretty massive in comparison to like something like Astrobot, you know. But I
Yeah,
completely
yeah.
um
Astrobot doesn't require like all the processing power needed, but it does utilize aspects of the PS5 to its advantage that the PS4 just couldn't do. But that
yeah,
if you want to learn more about that, watch our Astrobot video.
true. Um, and now I think we should talk about what, in my opinion, is by far the best part of this game, and the part that made me fall in love with it, which is the combat.
Oh my god. I cannot believe how fucking awesome it is.
It is genuinely like one of my favorite combat systems in a game. So to
Yeah.
briefly um go to I wish I could go as in depth as this as I want, but because there is so much to this combat system, but to briefly go over it, Jin is able to use different sword stances in order to fight. You have the stone stance, the water stance, the I believe the wind stance, and then the moon stance. Like those are his four main stances.
Unhansu!
What?
Sorry. Marvel Rivals, so the moon haunts you.
Oh, okay. I didn't hear the first part, so I just heard haunts you.
Dude, I was about to say, if you didn't get that reference, I was about to be like, the Marvel Rivals player not getting the Marvel Rivals reference is crazy.
Well, I have been usurped by a certain other someone in terms of the Marvel Rivals plan.
Yes, and it's our viewers, because they probably play Marvel Rivals. Let's be real.
But yeah, that's fine.
Stinky little gamers. We know what you are.
But the reason why you've got so many stances is due to the different enemy types in the game. So you've got swordsmen, shields, spearmen, and then brutes. And each stance is dedicated to essentially combating each of those different enemy types, where that like visibly you can like see how they are effective against this type of enemy. For example, the stone stance is about like quick, rapid, heavy attacks. Which actually we should go into the difference of heavy and light attacks real quick before I go too far deep into this.
True.
So Jin has two different types of attacks, like in quotation marks. You've got light attacks, which are, just quick little attacks that are meant to deal damage, and then you've got heavy attacks. And heavy attacks are like the thing to use because if you use an effective stance against an enemy and use the heavy attack, you will break their I'm pretty sure it's their posture meter.
Yeah, it's their
Um,
posture, stance, whatever you want to call it.
yeah, but once you break that posture meter, you are they can no like be stunned for a bit, um, and
So you can
then
do damage to them without them blocking it or anything.
without them blocking or dodging or like deflecting your attacks. And so really the reason why I love this combat system so much is that if you're ever like in you are frequently going to be surrounded by enemies when you're fighting, like on all sides. And the great part about the combat system is that it is like super easy to switch between the stances. And so there are just moments where if you really are able to just like I guess enter the flow state with your stances, you are just like constantly bouncing around between different stances and enemies and fighting them and like breaking all of their meters and like just killing them all one by one. And it really fills you with the exaggerated swagger of a Tsushima samurai.
So true.
Yeah,
Uh,
but it's genuinely one of my favorite like combat systems in game because of that. And obviously because it's an open world game, you're gonna have yourself a skill tree which allows you to enhance those skills further.
True. And one of my favorite parts about Ghost of Tsushima is that, like, all of the stances are equally viable, except for Wind Stance. Wind Stance is objectively the best, because I like it. But what I love about it so much with its skill tree is the fact that you, as a player, are incentivized to upgrade all of them equally, because you're going to be encountering spearmen, swordsmen, people with shields, brutes all the time in combat. So they don't really want you to incentivize to just do one skill tree to play to one moveset. They want you to play to how they want you to play. And usually this would be criticized with like, oh, this is restricting how I play, this, that, and the other. But the thing with Ghost of Tsushima is it's not that they're restricting your gameplay, it's just they want you to empower different parts of the combat. Because another part of the gameplay that is key and essential just as much as to the combat is the stealth sections.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
And
which you may explain
my
that.
yeah, I explained the stances so you can. I was just want to interject and like we'll get into this later, but I really, really love how the combat systems are used, like the different styles of combat between, like head-on action and stealth are used throughout the story, and like actually have importance in them.
It's important. It's an important thing of gameplay being a storytelling. I want to say a storytelling. What? I'm forgetting the word for this.
A I guess a storytelling medium.
Device. Yeah.
Nice, yeah.
Don't know why I forgot the word device. English major, by the way. Um, but yeah, no, like this is like one of the best games in my opinion that uses gameplay for storytelling. But getting into that, stealth is typically against the samurai's way. However, Jin is out of options here. If he wants to take his island back, he's got to do what he has to do. So stealth killing is a thing in this game, and it is equally as viable as normal combat. Stealth kills are you can. There's also an entire separate skill tree for stealth as well. So you can choose whether you want to invest more into stealth, more into normal combat, whatever you want to do. But with stealth, there's so many different ways to play. You can go in the way of like normal Assassin's Creed of just wait for the enemies to move, get them, hit them, hide them behind the bush, yada yada, etc. Or you can play in the most raw way possible and use your items that you get throughout the game to enhance your playing potential. Like you can use smoke bombs, you can use kunais, and all of these come together to form just like a coherent kinetic gameplay. Like one of my favorite things to do, honestly, initiate combat by stealth killing like 3 guys in a row, smoke bomb myself, get another stealth kill, and then just go ham on a brute or whoever's left. And then like if people are running away, kunai. All of these like blend together in such a fun and unique way. Oh my god. But the thing is that the combat would not be as good if it wasn't for the stealth and the normal combat working in tandem with one another.
It really is. Like, I'll say this: when it comes to open world games like these, like Horizon and stuff like that. Like, I say Horizon because it's really the only um one I can think of right now. But I typically always try and stealth stuff like this because I just find it the most fun. And in games like that, it's just I don't find the basic combat so fun. This is the first game I've played where the basic combat is so fun that I was actively like constantly switching between like facing attacks, for like full frontal charging enemies and fighting them, and then doing stealth missions. And I think that ability is just insanely uh I really commend the game for actually being able to balance those out in equally cool ways,
True.
because also like with later skills you get, whether they be like legendary skills, which are like super cool buffs and stuff like that, um and like just other like cool moves you can do, you will feel like a badass no matter what you do. And I think that's awesome.
Dude, that is so true. This game, like, it really does make it a like how do I put this? It makes you feel like a samurai in like those old Japanese films, and one of the abilities especially makes me feel that way, which I won't talk about yet, but there is an ability that just makes everything into black and white, and it's so cool. Oh my goodness.
It's aura.
It is aura farming. It is aura farming the ability, and I love it. But
This okay, I'll say this is that this game is one of the very few games that I will say that has hype moments and aura as well as good writing.
true. What? Give me an example of a game with hype moments and aura with bad writing.
Here, let me while you keep going, I'm gonna look through my current beat games list and I'll let you know.
I'm actually really excited to see what this is. But yeah, no. And also from like when you're in combat, this is just a side tangent that I want to go on because I love this little detail. This from an artistic point of view, there is no lock-on mechanic. So like in most like hack and slash games or just like open world games of this nature, you'd usually be able to lock on to an enemy, like so you can prioritize them, so your camera doesn't move, yada yada. The thing about Ghost of Tsushima, it doesn't do that. It actually
Yeah,
what it does is that it actually um has the camera zoom out to have like most of the enemies in frame and have Jin in the center. And what happens is that Jin, and not instead of having a lock-on system, Jin's body will turn and attack towards the nearest enemy. So like you're still gonna hit the enemies no matter what. That's not really the issue. But I just love how there is no lock-on system as like an artistic like choice to try and make it I guess as historically accurate as possible. It's like what's the point of having a lock-on system when it's going to take away from the visual experience?
yeah. And I'll say this, I don't mind it. There were a
Oh, I don't
few
mind either.
times where it's like I think it can be a tiny bit annoying sometimes where you see an enemy that you're clear like, and it's like I want to chase that guy, but Jin will like be locked onto like, or like quote unquote locked on to another enemy, and like that got on my nerves like the very few times it happened, but it barely ever happened. But it's just something that like gets under my skin a bit. Um, and
No,
by
I
the
get
way,
that.
I've got my answers for you.
Oh god, I want to know this.
Um, Persona 5 Strikers.
Oh, that's a good one.
Um, most Pokemon games. I would consider that.
All
Um,
right.
I don't. Hold on, where was it? I had
Is that it?
no,
Is that it?
had no, I had others, but oh yeah, Horizon Forbidden West. I definitely think that one's got some pretty hype moments, but it's very badly, or not badly written. It's just not great. Um, and my last one that I found was Elden Ring.
What?
I'm joking.
I was about to say.
I
There's
was
no
joking.
way. I know.
Uh,
I now know.
Now you know. Wow. Um, but my last one was going to be honestly, you're I don't know if you even remember this game, but Neon White. And I want to say immediately right now, I don't think the game has bad writing. I just think it's kind of cringe, and it's one of the only other games I could really think of.
So you're telling me it has bad writing, but it has hype moments and aura.
It has hype moments and aura, but it has mid writing. I'll say that it has mid writing.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Um,
All right. Side tangent over. I was curious about that.
Also, I don't apologize for Persona 5 Strikers. Fuck that game.
That game is bad. Do not play that game.
It's not
We just
okay.
angered like all Persona fans.
I don't think it's bad. I think it's just okay. But
That's for a different video.
the story is awful, and I will stand by that.
And that is for a different video.
True. Um, Back to what were we even talking about? I forgot.
Ghost of Tsushima for the PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5,
What
and
part,
PC
what part of Ghost of Tsushima?
2020.
You silly.
We were talking about the combat.
Ah, yes. But yeah, no. The combat is the best part of the game, in my opinion.
I think so as well.
I could, like, genuinely is what made me, after playing this, made me so hyped for Ghost of Yote, because the idea of like they could improve and like improve the small flaws I have with this game and like make it better is really crazy to me, because I already really like this game, and it's like the idea that Ghost of Yote could be better is also like just awesome to me. It's almost like a less hyped up version of Hollow Knight and Hollow Knight Silksong for me.
Dude, that's kind of awesome.
But
But yeah,
now
no,
I think we should get into the story and characters.
true. One of
And
the
this,
best, I would say the second best part about this game. I think the writing here is top notch.
yeah, the story and definitely the characters are by far my second favorite part of the game. But I'm gonna say this now. I think I genuinely do not know if we could keep this spoiler free. So, um, honestly, after this, we'll probably be wrapping up. So, if you've made it this far and you want to go in as blind as possible, I would heavily suggest you pick up this game. It's if you're on PlayStation, it should be free with PS, like one of the versions of PS Plus.
It's cheap
Um,
as hell. Like the PS4 version, at least physically, is always like on sale at your local GameStop. It's very cheap.
yeah,
It won't include the PS5 upgrade or the Island DLC, but it is still like it's still a good purchase. You will not be disappointed.
yeah, exactly. Um, but for now, but for with that, I think now, last chance to leave for spoilers. But thank you for watching.
Three. Thank you so much for watching, but we're going to be spoiling in three, two, one. Last chance, Lord Sheen. You have the chance to kill him or spare him in the ending.
True. Um, and I really like the moment where Minecraft Steve showed up.
I like that scene too. It was very good. He went chicken jockey, and I loved it.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I genuinely think this is one of a very great story for this game, and I love it so much because it's very grounded. And I think a lot of games, you know, you've got to fight some like giant, like you got to fight gods or other stuff like that, and it can work, like obviously for God of War that really works, but for other games doesn't really work that well. Horizon Zero or Horizon Forbidden West. um but I'll say this, I really love how grounded this story is.
Yeah, no, because this is taking place in a historical period of Japan. They can't really focus on like supernatural aspects at all. This is a real story with real characters with real problems that they have to overcome in a way that's just human. There is
Yeah,
no
it,
like grand like world shattering like thing. No, this is just a conflict between two nations and this family is caught in between it.
yeah, and I really really love Jin's arc throughout the game, and I think depending on the perspectives, it could either be seen as like a downfall or a sort of like self-realization. And I'm curious on what you view it as.
I okay. If I was to be through, so like basically everyone, if you don't know, or please play this game if you haven't already. Jesus God, um, Jin, his main conflict is he is pertaining to very very bad ways. He's fighting dirty. He's assassinating people. He's doing not so happy epic things. But he has to do it because it's giving him an edge over the Mongols, and it's actually making him win the war.
Yeah,
However, swore a. So what?
I was gonna elaborate more on that. Of like, he becomes this legend of the ghost. You could even say the ghost of Tsushima. Oh,
So true. But yeah,
um,
no, he basically he is torn because of this because like it goes against everything he's been taught throughout his entire life, and it eventually culminates to a point where his uncle Lord Shumura, who adopted him when his parents tragically
oh,
died when he was a
actually,
teenager.
actually, I'm gonna intervene. He never, he has never adopted him. And that's actually like a
That
kind
okay, that took him into his care. You get it.
Well, the only reason I'm going to be like a bit stinged on that is that it's actually like a key plot point that Shimura wants to adopt Jin in the events of the game,
Yeah,
and it's
as his
actually,
son. Yeah.
yeah, and it's a very big emotional moment, and that's the only reason I'm going to be a stickler about that, just because it's important to the story that he is not technically adopted.
Which is fair because he did basically raise him like his son.
Yeah, and I think I really love just everything about like Jin's arc and Jin's character throughout the game, because you realize where he's coming from, and there's this line somewhere in the middle where it's like Shimura confronts him about like these ways, and he's like, you are using fear and like, you know, like underhanded tactics to win, and Jin's essentially like, fear is the only language these people understand. And it really it really sort of hammers in how this war has just completely like, I don't want to say broken Jin, but just like beaten him down to a point where he sort of has realized that if he and like, I love that the game never really tells you who is right. It sort of leaves it up to your interpretation who you think is like right. Is it, you know, like, because both sides have their flaws, and I think the game really shows that in the like end of the second into the third act. Again, if we've already given a spoiler warning, so I'm not really gonna be careful with this, but there's this moment in the finale of the second act where you are charging a castle under the Mongols' control, and you know, Jin and Lord Shimura is like, Jin, we're gonna do this the samurai's way. We're gonna charge right through and face them head on. And Jin is like, that's a bad idea because we just tried to do that and they destroyed the only way over there, and we lost a bunch of men. And so he stealths behind it, and then when he stealths behind it, he sees that they've rigged on the other side of the only door in, they've rigged explosives and like archers to basically just massacre anyone who breaks through. And so,
Which means that Jin was right in that situation.
yeah, but then almost immediately after this, when you're getting into the third act, during that second act finale, Jin uses poison to take out all the Mongols while they are essentially, while they don't know he's there. And this comes to bite him in the ass because in the third act it's revealed, oh, the Mongols are now using Jin's poison, and he has essentially given them a insanely deadly biological weapon.
Yeah.
And
And the
I,
thing
that
is that like you're supposed to be like, dang, this was also just a bad mistake. Holy shit.
yeah, it's like neither of them are in the right, and it's, I think that's just such good writing, because like,
Yeah, because like the thing is, they're both wrong. Lord Shimura especially was willing to like sacrifice a lot of his men because of his honor, and Jin was trying to. His idea was, "Look, I'm going to save more lives," but because he was careless about his actions, he inadvertently killed some of his people because of that.
yeah, and there's, and you sort of have to like see this entire, like, the more and more you go into it, the more and more you're like, it's just all so well written, because Jin in Act One sort of, um he gets given this title of the Ghost by one of the side characters, Yuna, who's a great character. um I wish I could go more into her, um but I
He's
really
like
just want to
she's like
focus
a
on,
secondary main character in a way.
yeah, but it's like, but I really just want to focus on the relationship between Shimura and Jin.
Well, because that's
um
like yeah, that's the driving force of the plot. Yeah.
Literally the entire story revolves around that relationship, and it's so good. um but uh the essentially, um I lost my train of thought. I'm really upset at myself now.
You're
uh
such a silly Billy.
yeah, okay, now I sorry, I got back where I was.
No, you're good. You're
um
good.
Yuna gives Jin this title of the Ghost after he saves a town, and it sort of spreads like wildfire. Everyone starts talking about the ghost and how he's going to save Tsushima and how he's a deadly warrior, and it sort of becomes this unintended weapon of fear for the Mongols, because then they start talking about the ghost and start fearing the ghost, and it's like the more and more you get through the game, the more and more, because Jin's initially against this title, and then he's like, the more and more you get through the game, the more and more he embraces this title of like the ghost, this sole savior of Tsushima who's able to take down the Mongols, this one-man army. And all the samurai and stuff, since they're so bound by honor and like loyalty to the shogun, they're like, we don't like the ghost because it takes power away from the samurai and the shogun and stuff like that. But Jin, especially at the end of the second act, Jin realizes that if the samurai just keep doing things the way they do, they are not going to win. And you know I think this is something Jin has known since the start of the game, because I'm not going to tell the context of it, but there's this really good line where Jin says, "Honor died on the beach," and that line has stuck with me so long because it's just such a great, I like, sort of nutshell of what his character is. Of like, he sort of realized ever since they first lost that the Mongols cannot be fought like normal adversaries, and just the way the game breaks him down and then builds him back up again is just masterful, in my opinion.
One thing now thinking about it, I've never thought about this before, but like I'm thinking about it now. I think it works too because like with Tsushima being our setting, Jin and everyone on this island have been on this island their entire lives. Their culture is the only thing they've known. And so the Mongols, in a way, they represent the outside world, the real world, and how it is. And I feel like, see, you asked me the question earlier of, is this a downfall or Jin, or is this a realization? I'm gonna be real. I think it's a realization that like Jin, he has the honor of a samurai, but without restrictions. And I mean that in like the best way possible. Of he has a very strict moral code for innocent people. He tries to protect as many people as he can. He's trying to protect his people, but human nature, people are going to try and win the way they can. And I think by having the antagonist be from outside of Tsushima just allows this arc to blossom in such a beautiful way.
Yeah, and it really is like a great like thing. And it's like I could go so much more into just like arcs of like how, despite the fact that like when I first started the game, I was really concerned that the main villain was going to be some like just like generic like big bad guy, but I really love his character. I love almost like every character in this game, and like because like they've got so much depth to them, and I genuinely hope someday, if I ever get the honor of like taking a video game class, I get to write an essay about this game, because I could genuinely write an essay about how much I love this, like all the characters and their relationships and the story and stuff like that.
Can I ask you this? Now that you've had time with the game, would you consider it one of your favorite games?
I think it is definitely in the top 25. I definitely am not like as I'll say not as like I think it's safe to say I've sort of moved on for recency bias, but I think I genuinely just think it's a really great game. Like, some of the best writing and story that I've played. The characters are all so full of depth, and like you get really invested in them. And I'm gonna say this, I'm going to give a very big like shout out to like all the voice actors, because like all the voice actors for the main characters like kill it. Like, there's just so much humanity, and like they genuinely feel like real people.
Context, we played in the English version of the game, so like
Yeah.
the English voice acting. There is an option to have the Japanese Japanese voices at the beginning of the game, which that's just again that's there to make it feel like a old Japanese samurai film, which is again such a good detail. But yeah, no, we did play in the English with the English voices on.
I wanted to understand what was happening.
Exactly. I like reading, but not that much. I'm kidding.
Yeah. Um. But yeah, no. I think this definitely is can it is in my top 25 at least.
Okay. I was just curious because I know we've been talking about this game for a while, and we're kind of talking about it in a video. So I just want to know.
Yeah. I and honestly this game has also just like sort of helped me like realize that too because it's like I think once I started talking and sort of like slowly realizing how much depth the characters in the story have, the more I was like, yeah, no, this game's really fucking good.
Whoa, this game is like really good or something. Whoa, who would have thought? Game of the year contender.
I cannot. I'm still sad it lost after
Dude, you
playing it.
now understand my pain.
After having played it, I actually am very sad that it lost to fucking Last of Us 2.
Literally, like the least deserved win of all time, dude. Oh my god.
Yeah, I'm not even
Jesus
gonna give
God.
them. I'm not even gonna give them like the liberty of like it was COVID year, because that means you can just play more video games.
Rue.
Side.
Oh my god. Yeah, but going back into the story, sorry, we went on a tangent there. You know how we are. Neurodivergent people try not to go on a tangent challenge. Impossible.
You're not neurodivergent.
No, I'm not, but I probably am. There's no telling.
Okay. But yeah, no, um, I'm sorry I sort of hogged that spotlight. Is there anything you want to add to that?
One thing I do want to add is I think this game, I think having one, like, this is again, final boss, like, story stuff. I think having the final boss of the game be Lord Shimura is such a powerful moment for me because I think, like, when you're doing the final raid against the Mongol leader, you are thinking to yourself, "Oh shit, this is gonna be it." But it's just like it's a good level. Don't get me wrong, but it's just like a generic like base, like fight in the base, like kill the enemies. Eventually, like, and of course the boss is like just a bigger version of like a normal dude. I was like, okay, that's disappointing. That's really unfortunate. I mean, hey, at least I beat the game. This is it. The yada yada. And then the time skip happens, and we find that Lord Shimura has found Jin. And the entire lead up of those two talking, that we get an idea of like what Lord Shimura is about to do. But then once he reads it aloud, that the Shogun has ordered him to kill his nephew, and he, because of his induced loyalty to the shogun as a samurai, he does it, and that is the true final boss of the game, Lord Shimura against the ghost. And I think it is such a genius decision that the player has the ability to grant him mercy or to kill him.
Yeah. Me personally, I chose the kill him and die route. I'm kidding. Um, I chose the mercy thing because, just in my opinion, as someone who played this game, I genuinely don't think killing Shimura is like even a thought that would pass through Jin's mind. Like
Yeah,
I
like that is like basically his dad. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, and it's like they obviously their relationship is like basically broken by the end of the game, but but they still both like the reason that final boss is so impactful and so gut wrenching is that you both know they don't want to do this, but they have to because Shimura is like so. I think one of the best lines of again, is like Shimura says to Jin, um, you have no honor, and then Jin replies, and you are a slave to it. And I think that's just such a great line, because that's what their conflict at the end of the sort of game becomes, of like Jin's realized that honor was doing nothing but really like it was going to prevent him from stopping the threat, and Shimura is just such a puppet to the honor and the code that it literally leads him to in attempting to kill what is like his son, you know?
Exactly. Which is crazy because like literally like in the timeline wise, like only a few days ago, Lord Shimura was like saying, after this, let me adopt you so that you can inherit like my wealth, my fortune, and my people.
Yeah, it's
Like let this land become yours. And then like Jin betraying everything that he was like taught in his life just so he can do the best he could for his people. It's just so heartbreaking to see in Lord Shimura's like perspective.
yeah, and it's like from both perspectives, it's a heart wrenching story of like Jin having to essentially like, you know, betray and essentially just forsake everything that he's been taught and learned from someone who is essentially his father, because he knows that the way that that is just going to lead to more deaths and more suffering for the people of Tsushima, versus Shimura, who essentially in his mind is just seeing his son become the enemy, essentially, of like becoming this fearful like monster almost.
Like this murderer who is willing to just do gruesome things to people without like any like remorse.
And the best part about the game again is that you cannot like, no matter what, I cannot bring myself to hate Shimura or hate Jin. I see both of their perspectives, and both of them are valid and both of them are wrong. You
Yeah,
know?
Lord Shimura is just he's very emotional. He's very like obviously he's strict with his honor code, but the reason why he's so strict about it is because he believes everyone deserves a chance, or at least everyone deserves at least some sort of like mercy or like a good end. That's why at the beginning of the game, one of the first things we see is the messenger that Lord Shimura sends towards the Mongols, like saying, "Hey, let's not do this." Because even though he knew the Mongols were a threat and were going to cause a lot of mayhem and panic, he just wanted to give them that chance.
And I think there's nothing more like the moment of like, oh shit, when the Mongol leader douses him in alcohol, lights him on fire, and then decapitates him all in front of the entire army.
Yeah, the Mongols don't care. The rule of don't shoot the messenger, they don't give a fuck.
Yeah, that is essentially like, and I think it's such a very striking thing, because the game real like the main villain, Kotal Khan, or no, not Kotal Khan, that's a Mortal Kombat character.
It's Mortal Kombat.
Um, God, I can't remember. He's a Khan, like Genghis Khan. He's a Khan. The Khan has states like multiple times to Shimura that he has learned his culture. He has learned, you know, their language,
He's
their
learned their
culture.
language.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he understands everything about their culture, and so him doing that with that added context, like he knew what he was doing there, and the fact that he essentially just spat in the face of all of that really shows just how monstrous the Mongols are. And the game never uh, hesitates to show you just how horrific and monstrous the Mongols are in their invasion.
Yeah, no, exactly. And dude, one of the best things I love about the Khan as a character as well is that he learns their language, learns their culture and everything because he's so locked in on conquering. Like that's just how much he loves it.
Yeah, and I think to briefly like, I think it's a genius move to make the villain like the grandson of Genghis Khan, because the Khan's entire like thing is like legacy. Like, how are you going to be remembered for your people, and how are you going to make an impact on the world? And in the Khan's eyes, his his grandfather's legacy of Genghis Khan is so overlooming that he is essentially going to any means necessary to outgrow that shadow. And he sort of sees himself in Jin, of like Jin breaking free of these like chains holding him back, and Jin sort of becoming someone that everyone's going to remember. And so he sort of sees himself, like Jin, as like a sort of different version of himself almost. And there's this really great line when you beat him where he goes, "Both of us will be remembered in history." And then Jin says, "No, you will be forgotten like everyone else." And I think that's just such a hard line.
Oh, I'm the grandson of Genghis Khan. Buzz Lightyear shelf gif.
That's also true, because that guy had a lot of kids.
Oh my god, that is. I'm pretty sure like a fourth of Thailand are at least related to each other because of Genghis Khan.
I've heard this thing before of like I want, okay, according to uh this thing, like, again, this is just from Google, not the AI overview, but like an actual like website. 1 in 200 people are descendants of Genghis Khan.
I'm the descendant of Genghis Khan. Okay, get in line, buddy.
Yeah, and it's like, yeah, that's insane. But I think it's just such a great choice.
It is a good choice. It is like, but like besides my shit posting, it is like a really good choice. I'm glad that like it is like Connor said, every single character in this game is extremely unique and extremely well written with the context that they're given into the story. Oh god, dude, I can go on just forever about this game. I do think the best ending of the game is giving Lord Shimura mercy, and I do think this is in a line right after you the credits. I do think something about Lord Shimura changed that day because there's a line saying that the some of the samurai of Tsushima have like stopped looking for him, or like there are at least like less forces like after him. And Jin says the only person with that authority or ability is Lord Shinra.
Yeah,
And like there's a part of it.
but
What's up?
you go first.
Um so yeah, no. Basically, man, like sorry, I lost my train of thought. Um I love this game. I think this is going to lead into concluding points here because we did just talk about the finale of the game, so kind of fitting. Um, yeah, no, I think this is an incredible game from Sucker Punch. You wouldn't expect them to like go like okay, again, Naughty Dog did it before, so this isn't really like too surprising for developers to do. But like they go from like goofy 90s platformer to ultra serious like very story driven game with like
Um,
incredible scenery, incredible characters, great combat. Oh my lord. And it's kind of the game that's like defining them right now. And with the release of Ghost of Yote coming soon, this is just gonna like they're gonna like expand more and more into like this universe of like Japanese legends. And I think that's just such a good choice for the studio now that like they have the ability to make such like moving and compelling games. So why not? You know, obviously I still want Sly Cooper, but I do think it is sick as hell that they are just going out of their way making such cool games now. And I just gotta say, I'm excited for Ghost of Yote. I think it looks incredible. I haven't seen that much on the game on purpose. I want to keep it spoiler free for me. I want to be surprised. But yeah, no. I think Ghost of Tsushima is an excellent showcase of what the PS4 could do, and it was as like the game itself is kind of an epic. It's kind of an epic of like and like a last telling of the PS4 and that era of video gaming and just what Sony was really doing at the time. They were trying to innovate. They were trying to make good games, very good single player games. And I just think that was just the last game of that era, and they knocked it out of the park. If I'm gonna be frank.
And also, to be fair to Sucker Punch, they also did make the Infamous games.
Oh, they made it. Okay, never mind then.
Yeah. So it
Lamau.
wasn't that strict, that much of a turn into like gritty action game. Um,
Okay, to be fair though, it isn't. It is their first like open world game. I'm pretty sure Infamous is Infamous open. I don't know.
I don't know. I've never played an Infamous game, so
Okay, then I will stop talking because I have not played Infamous. I have it, or I have Infamous Second Son. I need to play it.
all right. But I'm gonna go into my concluding points of essentially, I love this game. I think it is like I actually updated my list mid recording, and it is my third or excuse me, my 17th favorite game of all time,
Hell yeah!
and I think this game is really special. I think it's, as Guy was saying, I think it's a sort of relic of a bygone era of gaming where Sony was trying to make like good single player games and innovate, and now they're sort of only concerned about making a bunch of money. Um, and I really love Ghost of Tsushima. If this video has not made that apparent, and I am very excited for Ghost of Yotei. As I said earlier, the idea that this game that I think has very minimal flaws could be improved upon and made better, um, is genuinely just like really incredible. And I will be honest, if you're skipping this game because it is a woman lead, then you are weak and will not survive the winter.
When
And
can I
that's my
play some man?
okay, Asmongold.
When am I? This is cool. When am I able to play some man?
Okay, yeah, whatever. Um, but yeah, no, I am very excited for Ghost of Yotei. I don't know if I'm gonna play it this year, but I will definitely play it sometime next year if I don't play it this year. Um, and I am looking very much excited for just what Sucker Punch does with the Ghost franchise beyond Ghost of Yotei as well, because I think there's a lot of potential for this to be a very big franchise.
Yeah, no, I'm excited, man. I'm excited to see where they go from here. But with that being said, guys, thank you so much for watching today's episode on Ghost of Tsushima. If you like this kind of content and you want to see more of it, please hit that like and subscribe button and tell us in the comment section below what is your favorite badass moment in this video game or one of your favorite moments in general. But with that being said, guys, thank you so much for watching today's episode. We've been Fetch Quest, and this is our episode on Ghost of Tsushima. Catch you later.
Goodbye.